I did this makeup around 1:30 p.m. It is currently 3 a.m. and this is how it's holding up. Once again, my ministry-proof makeup routine has withstood the test of time, sweat, and deliverance. I want to see what the transfer is like, so we've got a clean toilet roll, piece of toilet roll. Yeah. This is all we got. Hey friends, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And if you're new here, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Evangelia and I talk about all things faith and lifestyle. And today we're switching up the content a little and I'm going to actually be giving y'all my ministry proof makeup routine. The reason I'm doing this is because 2 weeks ago, if you watched the travel vlog for Atlanta, the BV Atlanta Missions Experience Week, when we did our final event at the Our Christian Club, I had done my makeup like earlier that day and it lasted me till the very evening. Did not shift. I got endless compliments. People they're like, oh my gosh, your skin looks like a filter. Nothing moved. I got home and it was still like, it would have still lasted me another like 4, 5, 6 hours. And so everybody always asks me like, what's your makeup routine? Da da da, whoop, whoop. So I'm finally gonna give it to y'all. This is a makeup routine that will stand the test of time, sweat, deliverance, tears, ministry, all of it. So if you're in that world, or if you got a church service you gotta go to and you wanna still look good and be able to cry, I'm gonna give y'all a tip on how to cry too. If you are in ministry and you know you're gonna have to tarry, but you don't wanna have to forsake like a beat face, watch this. Now, as y'all know, I am a missionary, so I'm currently not home in Huntington Beach, California. I'm still in Atlanta. I'm at my dad's house. So I don't have all of my products here like how I would typically do a beat, but I'm gonna just show y'all how I did it for that Saturday, and where I would like use something else, I'm gonna just let y'all know. So obviously the first thing we're gonna start off with is a primer. Actually, let's rewind. You want to start off with your skincare routine. You want to make sure you are well hydrated. Your skin is like prepped and primed. You've moisturized it. And I know people who are oily girls tend to think that they can skip out on moisture. You cannot, because when your face is dry, your skin is going to overproduce oil to compensate for that dryness. So you want to make sure that you're hydrated. After you do that, then you start with primer. And I'm going to be using the Fenty Beauty True Matte Pro Filt'r Mattifying primer. And so I just spray a little bit. I'm gonna be looking off camera into my mirror. So yeah, I have the mini size because once again, missionary on a budget. But I just like to, with my primers, I don't like to smudge everything in or rub too hard because I want it to rest on my face. I don't know if that makes sense. But I don't like to treat it like lotion where I need it to like seep into my skin. Yeah, it's hard to explain, but hopefully you get what I mean. After I do my my primer, if I had any dark spots that I wanted to conceal, now would be the time for me to do that. So if you have like dark marks or hyperpigmentation and you want to cover that up, now would be the time for you to go in with your concealer and blend that out. Dang, I have so many disclaimers in this video because I'm not home, but I want to get this video out. Another disclaimer is that my makeup brushes, oof, girl, I had to sneeze, sorry. Thank you if you said bless you. But another disclaimer is that my makeup brushes are, okay, I'm done sneezing. But I was saying, do not use dirty makeup brushes if you want your makeup to look good. The cleanliness of your brushes matter. Mine currently are dirty. I'm just gonna clean them after this. I didn't feel like cleaning them and then using it for a tutorial and then having them dirty again. No, so I'm just gonna clean them after this. After primer, we go in with our foundation. If you're gonna spot conceal before foundation, this is when you would do it. I'm not, so we're just gonna go in with like a couple pumps. I like to just like, you know, not too much. The thing about makeup is if you want like a no makeup look, then you want to do use a little bit of product. why am I stumbling over my words? You want to use a little bit of product, but if you want it to look like you got makeup on, you better use that product. Ooh, I have definitely gotten a tan because this is no longer my color. But my summer color is in California. So we gonna make it do what it do. As we blend out product, y'all, you wanna, I'm taking these off because they're gonna get in the way. As you blend out product, you wanna pat and not like drag. When you drag your makeup, you make it look like mud. And also it just doesn't make it have like a beautiful finish. Another pro tip, I don't bring my foundation right here at all. I keep it at this level, and then from here up, there's no foundation, and I'll show you why. All right, now here is where the tea comes in. In between each layer of makeup, you are going to go in with a setting spray. This is not the time for you to pull out your Morphe setting spray. This is not the time for you to pull out your NYX setting spray. This is not the time for that. If you need your makeup to last, you need a good high-end setting spray. So for this, we are going to be using our One Size Until Dawn setting spray in between each layer. Now, if you know with this thing, it is like when you buy it online, it literally comes with a hazmat like warning that it can't be flown. It has to ship on ground because it's so strong. Do not breathe in when you use this, okay? Don't ask me if it's good for the skin. I don't know. It's never made me react. It's never made me break out. It's never done any of that. For my everyday makeup, I do not use that. For my everyday makeup, I use this, the Makeup Revolution Super Fix Super Hold Misting Spray. It's just a little lighter. It still has good hold, but this is not for everyday use. Unless maybe it's like, yeah, no, it's not for everyday use. That's what I would say at the very least. We are going to be going in with the Lancome Idole Ultra Wear all over concealer in the shade 520. I like a bright under eye, and so that's what we're going for today. If I'm not using this, I am using my Born This Way concealers in the shade Maple and Chai. I can't remember which one is lighter, so whichever one is the darker one is what I use first, which is what we're gonna do here. So once again, just like I did with foundation, I'm going to put it a little bit below, not up, and then we're gonna go right here. People also compliment me often on my under eye makeup. They're like, oh my gosh, it's so smooth, you don't crease. Part of the reason is because I don't layer the product on right under my eye. I do it a little bit below and then I drag the product up. That way the makeup isn't cakey. Hopefully that makes sense. It makes sense to me, so hopefully it makes sense to y'all. So we're gonna do our eyes. Now your concealer placement matters. I don't know how to describe it for people like to your face, but essentially you wanna be able to take it from like this, that way. I don't know if that works for every face shape, but it works for mine. And then you do a little bit in the middle on the bridge of your nose. And then I like to do in the chin area. Now remember, don't be afraid of the product. Now I would typically use, and I might do like half side with the brush, half side with, let me see if I can shift this a little. Half side with the brush, half side with the sponge, because like I said, my sponges are dirty, and when your sponges are dirty, it affects the way it blends out your makeup. But I typically would use the Real Techniques brush in the 402 one, and I would start like at the edge. So I'll start like this. Just like that. And then I'd start going up. Another thing is you don't want to over blend your makeup because then it starts to separate on you, and that is no fun. Oh, y'all, I went to the zoo today with my nephew and my brother. So let's talk while we do this. So my cousin has been living with us, or living with my dad since 2018. So when I lived here, obviously she lived with me too. But she's married and she had a kid when she moved here. So I don't know if you know, but like if you're in another country, most of the time in like Ghana or African countries, and I think maybe even some Caribbean countries, they do this thing called a green card lottery where you can put your bid in, and it's like very rarely that people win. Well, my cousin won. So she won the green card lottery. She came here, she left her husband and her kid. They agreed on it, obviously, just so she could have a better life than what she has in Ghana. And honestly, it wasn't even an easy decision for her. She was like, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if I want to come. It basically took mad people in our family convincing her. But see, this side is blended out now and my under eye doesn't look wild. Amen. All right. But anyways, yeah, so she ended up coming over here in 2018, and she filed the papers for her husband and her son to come. And y'all, it really shouldn't have taken 6 years, but COVID messed her up so bad because everything got shut down, everything got backed up, and so she was literally stuck waiting for her family to come to America and like live with her for 6 years. So they finally got their visas and their interview, or they finally got called for an interview and got their visas and all of that, and they arrived in America last month in April. Now the tea is, it's not really no tea for real, but oh, and by the way, in that span of 6 years, she had another kid because she would go back to Ghana for like periods of time, and she went to Ghana, saw her husband, came back pregnant as she should, and yeah. So in April, her husband and her oldest son came, and so now they're staying in our house as well. If you're like a foreigner or a child of a foreigner, you already know that your house is never really just your house. Your house is for the family. Your house is for the hood, for real. But her son, he's 7 years old, and he doesn't really have a lot of American experiences. And my dad obviously lives in this house as well, but my dad works a full-time job, and he like loves his job. I don't know if he loves his job or just loves working, but he's always working. My brother is also always working and never home. He also has his own life. He's young, you know? And then my cousin, she goes to nursing school during the day and then works at night, so she don't have no time. So he been cooped up in the house. So when I got here, it was like, oh, auntie's home, we're gonna do stuff. So today we went to the zoo, and honestly, I've been trying to do different activities with him while I've been here, because I know I'm not gonna be here long. I leave for Kenya May 18th, and I'll be there for 2 weeks. Oh no, the light is going. Okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. It might just be a cloud, but I think y'all can still see. But yeah, so I took him to the zoo today. On Monday, I took him to the playground. So he literally, I'm telling y'all, he literally has not left the house. He was going stir crazy. And so I was like, okay, we're gonna start doing stuff. So we went to the playground on Monday. He had a ball. I have never seen him laugh and have that much fun. It was so cute. Tuesday, what did we do on Tuesday? Tuesday, we went to Barnes and Nobles, because also I come from a family of educators and people who really care about education. And so I wanted to like assess his reading, see where he's at. So we went to Barnes and Noble. I got him a Dr. Seuss book. Also, sidebar, if you realize I'm tapping, I'm not dragging. And I always start at the edges first and work my way up. And then anywhere that I see is splotchy, I just, you know, tap and rework it. And then also, because I don't want harsh lines right here, because your concealer and your foundation is going to be a different color. You don't want harsh lines. So you always want to like blend out your edges well, you know? Yeah. So anyways, we went to Barnes and Noble. I got him the Dr. Seuss book, Green Eggs and Ham. Wednesday, we were supposed to go to the movies. But I ended up having meetings and it just didn't work out. Yesterday, it rained, so we also didn't do anything. And then today I was like, let's just go to the zoo. So we went and he had a ball. I'm gonna see if I can like insert some videos and pictures, because he wasn't the only one that had a ball. I had fun, me, Evangelia. Okay, first layer of concealer is done, and now we're going to brighten our under eye. So I'm going in with the Lancome Teint Idole concealer again, but this time in the shade 470. People always tell me like, oh, I love your bright under eye. How do I get my under eye that bright? I be trying to tell y'all, until the concealer shade scares you, you are not bright enough. Like this right here, this is nowhere near my color. Y'all see this, but it's gonna brighten my under eye in the way that I want. Yeah. Now I don't take this anywhere but right here because I only want under my eye bright. And we're not gonna blend this out with a sponge. We're gonna blend this out with a sponge. If you buy the Real Techniques brush set, it should have like this brush, this one other brush. It's like a dense stippling brush. It'll come with this sponge, and this sponge is, it's amazing. So yeah, I would recommend you get that set. I literally have bought like 3 or 4 because they're just that good. Yeah, I bought 4. But when we blend this out, we're going to not spread it. We're gonna start by just going over and over in the same spot. And then I'll show you what it looks like and we'll go from there. Because remember, we are aiming to brighten our under eye. Okay, but yes, back to my cousin. So we went to the zoo today. It was super fun. He had the time of his life. We saw lions, we saw gorillas, we saw, what else did we see? We saw turtles, we saw a snake. It was really just a good time. Hold on, y'all. Sorry, brief intermission. My dad called me. After just like going over in the same place, this is what it looks like. Low key, high key, I want it brighter. Where'd I put my concealer? I knew it was a cloud. The sun came back. Yeah. Oh, thank God the sun came back. I don't need it brighter. It's perfect. Anyways, I have like another week here in Atlanta and I want to do more things with him. So I'm going to take him to the aquarium on Sunday, and I don't know what else I can do. Like maybe a splash pad. Maybe we can go to an actual library. I don't know. I'm just trying to look for things to keep him occupied, because also technically he knows no other children here, and because he's from a different like culture, he speaks English fluently. He's from a different culture. It's just a little bit different with like how he relates to other children. Now children are children and they always gonna just be like, hey, you want to play with me, which he does. But I can also tell like when he plays with other kids, sometimes they're like paying attention to his accent or things like that. Concealer layer is done. We are going to go in with contour. Now I didn't focus too much on blending this out like that because we're gonna blend it into the contour. And I'm so sorry that this like keeps fluctuating. For my contour, I do it on the perimeter of my forehead. I do it right here. And then I also do it on the outer of my nose where so if the concealer is like right here, we're doing the contour on the edge. I'm not a huge fan of contour like that because it can be so cooling and it'll look weird. No, the way this light is fluctuating is not okay. It can look so weird, but I love the Fenty contour stick because it's not too cool toned where it ends up looking ashy. Now that that's been said, we're blending. Once again, we're patting, not dragging. But anyways, I'm looking for more stuff to do with him before I leave to Kenya, because once I'm gone to Kenya for 2 weeks, he's gonna be stuck in his house again. When you're blending out your contour, you wanna make sure that you are blending up and not down. When you drag it down, you're gonna make yourself look like you have a beard. You don't wanna do that. So you just wanna, and you don't wanna drag up too much because then you're gonna go into where you concealed. So you kinda have to find that fine balance between like patting and then like pushing up a little bit. Now, when it comes to your perimeter, you wanna push it back into your hairline. You wanna pat and like push back into your hairline. Yo, it's so crazy how makeup works, because right now this right here is giving out jump scare, but by the time I'm done, it's gonna be giving, do you feel bonita? I am bonita. Can I tell y'all, I have been having, okay, I'm really talking to her like how I would talk to my best friend, just like random thoughts that pop in my head we gonna talk about. But I've recently been thinking a lot about how people try and do things, or I don't know if I want to say people or churches or ministries, but they try and do things to kind of like, we got to bring the young folks in, we got to stay hip, we got to stay relevant. And I'm just wondering, like, when we stopped believing that Jesus was timeless and that the Bible was timeless. If the Bible has been able to withstand the test of time and hold its relevance, truth, importance, and value, why are we trying to compromise it a little bit to bring people in the church? And I don't know if I want to get into this conversation, but I believe that Jesus is enough, and I don't see that reflected too much in the way that people do things. It's like, oh, let's cut our sermons shorter because people's attention spans can't handle it. Sidebar, when I'm doing my contour on my nose, I like to blend it into following the shape of my eyebrow. But yeah, it's like, let's shorten our sermons because attention span can't handle it. We are not adjusting our sermons and the word that the Lord has for us because of people's attention spans. That is not up to us. Or I don't feel like that's something that we should be doing. And I also believe that when people hear truth and they hear the word of God, or like the word of God itself is captivating, and a sermon and a message based on the word of God that has value, that is for your life and also just for you to draw closer to Jesus, like, I don't care how long it is. If I need to take a break or grab a snack, I'm gonna do that, but I'm gonna sit here and listen. And I feel like people are underestimating the power that the word holds to attract people or to hold attention, and also underestimating the attracting power of Jesus. The Bible said, if I be lifted up, I will draw all men unto me. And I'm not against, like, you know, a dark room in worship and a fog machine. I'm not against any of that. So don't take that from what I'm saying or think you're gonna hop on the yes bandwagon. Like, yes, I hate the dark worship. No, I don't mind that. I think what I mind is doing all of that, thinking that that will attract more than Jesus will. And so placing a higher priority over that instead of over reflecting Jesus in your ministry, loving like Jesus, doing ministry like Jesus, and preaching the gospel truth. I've been thinking about that so much lately. And honestly, if you watch, I don't know if I included it in that vlog or I took it out, but basically I was saying that I think about things for mad long before I ever speak about them publicly. Like, I simmer on things, I stew on things. Pause. Do we see this line of demarcation? This is not okay for you to continue on. We're going back with the beauty blender and we're going over the edges. This is the part in makeup tutorials that they don't be showing you. Do you see how that like almost instantly got better? Look at the difference here and here. Blended, not blended. We're gonna blend right here as well. And we're not dragging, we are patting. And then we're gonna do the same thing up here. You do not want harsh lines in your makeup. You will look like a toddler played on your face and you're gonna get talked about. I'm not condoning people talking about you, but I'm just saying you're gonna get talked about. Or at the very least, notice for the wrong thing. Now right here, we're gonna blend that out as well. But because this is more so the part where I want my under eye brightened for real, I'm going in with an unused beauty blender brush so that the darkness from the contour doesn't mix with my under eye. Okay, do we see how the face is now blended? The face is now blended. And now we're gonna go in with our second layer of setting spray. This layer of setting spray is dry. Now we are going to move on to powders. Powders matter, people. For powders, we are going to be using the Huda Beauty Easy Bake Loose Baking and Setting Powder. And we're also going to be using the, oh, dang it, I really don't have my stuff here. We're gonna be using the Charlotte Tilbury, what is this actually called? The Charlotte Tilbury, I don't know, but when you go into the store, you can see it. It's always there. Because I don't have what I would typically use for my bronzer here, we're gonna use the Juvia's Place. This is what I use for my everyday makeup, not my full glam ministry proof makeup. I would typically use my Fenty Beauty bronzer in the shade Mocha Mommy here, but we are gonna do okay with this. And the Lord will have his way, okay? And then we are going to use my Sephora Micro Smooth Setting Powder. And for blush, we're using this. I always use this, either volume 1 or volume 5. They're so pigmented and you'll soon see. Also, side note, for my under eye, I typically would not use the shade Cinnamon Bun for my under eye. I would use the shade Blondie for my under eye, and I would use Cinnamon Bun for like the places where I didn't go over with extra concealer to brighten, because those two shades are different colors and I want to be able to follow the fact that I want my under eye brightened and the rest of my face not brightened. But we don't have all my stuff here, so we're just gonna make do with what we got. What we're going to do now is we are going to first re-blend out under our eye, because we don't want our under eyes creasing. And so what we're going to do is take our triangle puff, we're like this, right? We're gonna dip it in the powder. You can use the back of your hand or like the inside of your cover, and you're gonna take off the excess. Taking off the excess. So when you go like this, stuff shouldn't shake off. We're gonna go back with our beauty blender and we're gonna re-blend under our eye and immediately set while looking up so that we're not creasing, okay? So we're gonna blend and set. And you wanna pat this into your skin. Like, this is not something we're gonna brush off. So we're gonna pat my powder in the shade Blondie, I meant. But we're gonna pat this into the skin. If you ever have like excess anything go into this area, just always like round it out. Like if I just had excess powder right here, all I did was just like that, you know? You don't gotta freak out. You don't gotta take it off. Work with it. Now we're only patting this or putting this where we put concealer. So I'm not taking it anywhere that my concealer didn't go. I'm not putting it all over my face. That's not the purpose of this. It's not. Now we're also gonna, like I said, we're gonna go over everywhere we did concealer. So we're gonna do the bridge of our nose. We're gonna do our forehead, and we're gonna do our chin. And for each of these areas, we're gonna pat. I tend to just put the powder there, like in that place first before I go back and pat. I don't know why, that's just how I do it. Everywhere that I concealed now has powder. And so we are going to go in with our bronzer and put it over where we contoured. So for every liquid process, there's a powder process, if that makes sense. Where's my bronzer brush? This brush is old. Get you a little nice bronzer brush, a fluffy brush. I don't remember how long I've had this. I've had this for a hot minute. I think it's in, I don't even know what kind of brush it is or what brand it's from. It's just one of them things you picked up randomly. Oh, and then also for contour, I was using this brush I got from the beauty supply store. It's the Ruby Kisses brand. You just need a stippling brush, that's all. So I'm using the Juvia's Place bronzer in the shade Dark. Remember, I would typically use Fenty Beauty bronzer in the shade Mocha Mommy. I'm just going in, like swirling, tapping off excess, and I'm going from here and swirling up. If I was swirling down, I'd go like this. I'm not, I'm swirling up. And what it's gonna do, it's gonna warm my face up. I wish I could play like Madison Ryan Ward music without getting copyrighted. I'll wait for you to come to me. I'm holding on. Oh, back to what I was saying. So we're gonna do the same thing and swear up. Back to what I was saying, but the whole reason I've been thinking about this, and I've been thinking about this for months, is because there was this person on TikTok. It was like a video clip of an interview, I believe, and it was this person interviewing this person who used to be transgender, who like literally changed their gender and was now reverting back to their original born at birth gender. And the person was asking like, what made you come to this decision? What made you come to Christ? All those things. And essentially, what made you come to Christ, and what made you want to reverse your decision there? And essentially what they said was, I started going to this church, and instead of trying to accept me, embrace me, well, no, I went to this church, and instead of them trying to give me fluff, they gave me Jesus. And I think they even asked him like, what advice would you have for churches or ministries that are getting this, like the LGBTQ community, and don't know what to do with them? And part of his advice was just give them Jesus. They're not coming for you. They're not coming for the community. They're coming because they want and need Jesus. And from that point on, it just made me think of everything that I do. Like, now granted, just the way that social media, ministry, all of that works, there will be some level of meeting the people that you're reaching, but what I'm not gonna do is compromise Jesus, water down Jesus, none of that, because they're not coming for me. They're not coming for my pretty face. They're not coming for my speaking skills. They're not coming for my fame. They're not coming, I don't even have fame. They're not coming for my reputation. They're not coming for any of that. What they're coming for is Jesus. And so what my job is to give them Jesus uncompromised. And so from that point on, that's just the mindset I've had towards everything. Like, I'm not holding back, you feel me? And I'm not saying give them Jesus and be a jerk. What I'm saying is don't water stuff down. If somebody asks you blatantly a question like about sin, or I don't know, something, give them the biblical response, but give it in love. Give it in love. But anyways, okay. Now we're going, remember we did contour around the perimeter of my forehead. We're going back in the way. And we're gonna do this. Push it back into the hairline. Rule of thumb. I also just realized I used the wrong brush for contouring my nose. Typically I would use this brush. This is a Morphe brush M173. I would use that. I use my Real Technique brush and the number. Dang, what number is this one? It's the Deluxe Crease brush. Oh, 300. I normally use this for my bronzer, so that's what I'm gonna do. Right there. Boom. I like to bring it down to this area of my nose. And just into the eyebrow, into the eyelid. Ooh. Can y'all see how that just warmed me up a little bit? Now, if I was using the proper powder under my eyes, you would be able to see it more. But I'm not, so we're gonna make do. We're getting there, folks. Also, sidebar, I normally do my mini twist on my own, and this time I went and got it done. I like them. My only hesitation is that they're not as small as I would do them. Now, when I do my mini twist, I do them tiny. For me, this is big. I would not do my mini twist this big. Like, this would be divided into 4. That's how small. I literally do them so small. But I felt bad because I went in late. I have a lot of hair. My head is big. So I went with it, but I don't know if I'm in love. But they're in, so they're staying. They're staying. They're gonna be in for like a solid month. They're gonna be in while I'm in Kenya. My original plan in Kenya was to land there, get my hair braided in some cute cornrows, because you know it's cheaper to get your hair braided in Kenya. It would have cost me like $15. Get my hair braided in some cute straight back cornrows, maybe some stitch braids, 4, 6, I don't know. Nothing more than 6. Let that last me the 2 weeks that I'm there, and then the day before I leave, get some bomb braids. That's no longer the plan because I got these twists because I needed to do my hair. Okay, but let's continue. I'm now gonna go in with my Sephora Micro Smooth powder. This is in the shade 75 Hazelnut. And I'm gonna go in with a different powder puff. My powder puffs are dirty, as you can see. And I'm just gonna rub. And everywhere that powder did not go, so like under the contour area, my upper lip, I'm gonna put the micro smooth. So we're gonna, right here and right here. And we're gonna pat. We're gonna pat, we're gonna pat. Remember, we pat, we never drag. Pat, we never drag. But speaking on the whole getting my hair braided thing, y'all, I don't know what braids to get in Kenya. I wanted a boho bob. I've wanted a boho bob for like the last 3 months. But when I had texted some hairdressers in HB and I showed them a picture of what I wanted, why were these people telling me $250? $250? $250 for a boho bob? Chin length, y'all. I didn't want it past here. Why are you charging me $250 for that? In Georgia, I paid $250 for some knotless butt length braids. What? I just get so upset when I think about it. Because why would you even do something like that? But anyways, I wanted to get a boho knotless bob when I went to Kenya. But my friend basically was like, girl, do not go to Kenya and waste your opportunity to get braids for the low on a bob. And I was like, dang, she raises a great point. So now I don't know what I should get. I think I'm tired of butt length braids. So I know I don't want to get that because I always get butt length braids. But I'm like, okay, what if I get some French curl braids? I've never done French curl braids. I know if I do it, I'm going to do it in black. I tried color this past, like, what, December or something like that? I don't remember when. I don't think I like color because when it grows out and my hair is black, I'm not a fan. Ooh, y'all know Any Given Sunday, whenever she goes to Ghana, she gets these braids in this color mix that is so beautiful. Maybe I should do those. Maybe I should do that in the boho bob. I don't know. She has convinced me to not do the boho bob, and now I'm kind of stuck and I don't know what to do. All right, now that my whole face is powdered, we're gonna go in with the Charlotte Tilbury. Y'all could tell I use this. This is not gonna be an influencer thing where I tell you to get something, use something that I don't use. Y'all see, I have hit pan. This is the pan. This all that's left, and I'm using it till its very last drop. We are going to, well, I am going to take from the perimeter. This is how I have to go in to get this powder because there's nothing in the middle. I'm screaming at myself. Dang, there we go. And now I'm gonna go in under my, at my under eye, and this is what we're gonna do. My hair has truly been an enemy of progress this whole video. Okay, we're going to tap once here and once here, and then we're gonna go back and we're gonna pat. And we're not gonna really move it because I just wanna keep this in my under eye. So I'm just gonna literally pat it like micro moves. I'm not patting past this point, y'all. I'm not patting past that point. And I'm not patting past here, and I'm not patting past here. We're keeping it under the eye, or the concentration of it under the eye. And then we can bring it out. Boom. You see the difference between this eye and this eye? I know you do. All right, go back in on the other side and do the same thing. Do we see the face? Do we see the material? Okay, we are on our last powder step, folks. We are now on blush. So this is the Juvia's Place Blush Duo in the shade Volume 1. You saw that? In the shade Volume 1. I love this color set so much because it's just gorgeous. So what I do is I take my brush and I literally mix it in both, a little swirl in both. I just want y'all to see how like pigmented this is. So we're gonna just zoom in, right? Okay, if you see my mustache, oh well, I don't want to hear nothing about it. If I do, you're anti-black. I'm a hairy girl. For me to have long hair, hair grows other places too. Okay, let's focus, let's focus. Do we see, let me zoom out a little bit so it doesn't focus on the brush. Do we see my cheeks without blush? Just watch. And that's just with like 2 little swirls. Oh, I love this blush. And it's so buildable. Like if I go back in, hold on. If I go back in, and it's such a perfect black girl friendly blush. Like you're not gonna look crazy. You're gonna look blushed. Just in a really cute way. Oh man, I love this. Oh, I love this blush so much. Okay, and now, dang, how many times are you gonna say okay, girl? And now we're going to do the other side. So like I said, what I do is one swirl, I think it's like two, and then another one, and then I smile, and I do it right here and carry it up. Circle, 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 swipe. Circle, 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 swipe. That's what we're doing. I'm a blush girly, so I like a little bit of a heavier blush. If that's not you, that's fine. But that is me. And I just take a little bit of the excess and I just, ooh, like that. Ooh, ooh, just like that, you know? All right. Now we are going to go in with Miss Tilbury. Now her, I am on my 4th bottle or my 3rd. I honestly lost count. But what she does is marry all the products together. And it's just gonna come together seamlessly. Ooh, she actually smells good. She doesn't stink. Okay, now that all the products are married together on my face, we are going to go back in with this bad boy. I'm literally going nowhere. So I am using good product on y'all just to wash it off right after this. This should let y'all know how much I love you guys, okay? Because this ain't cheap. It ain't cheap. Golly. And now we're just finishing off with our lips. I use this lip liner that this pencil liner that I got from the beauty supply store. It is nothing fancy, girl. Like it is literally, it's in the shade black brown. I really don't have anything more to give you. It's a Ruby Kisses brand. I just picked it up and I love it. I line the outside of my lips. I don't like to overline. That's not my thing. And then for my lips, okay, I get asked about this lip combo all the time. People have literally looked at this lip combo and said, I want your lip combo on my lips right now. It's that lip liner and the Phyto Glow lip balm from Natorium in the shade Latte. Oh my goodness, this thing, I'm literally almost through with it. I have to order more. Their whole cafe collection is phenomenal, but this color in particular, I'm in love. And then just put it in the middle. And we don't do that. We do in out. And this is what it starts to look like. I don't have my clear lip gloss here, but if I did, I would use that in the middle after doing this step. Now my Fenty gloss in the shade Hot Chocolate is basically through, y'all. Like look at this. Ain't nothing in here. I'm scraping the walls at this point. And I'm gonna do it till the walls are dry. But we take that and we line where we put the lip liner. Do we see the material? Do we see it? Do we see it? Do we? I said do we see the material? 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 I didn't do my eyebrows. I almost never do my eyebrows because they're actually almost never shaped, but I actually got them shaped yesterday. So we're gonna do a little 1-2. I'm taking, okay, fun fact. This is the e.l.f. Why do I do that? Anytime I'm gonna give y'all a little sidebar, I say fun fact, and the fact don't be fun. Anyways, this is the e.l.f. Clear Brow and Lash Mascara. And I use the brow side, but I don't use this product. What I rather use is the e.l.f. Brow Lift. So I just use the spoolie from this. You see, this is what I use. and I just dip it in there. Now, because my face is done, I don't want to take too much product. I just want to like flick it up and then brush back down in place. Flick it up and then brush back down in place. And now the face is done. And this is my ministry proof makeup. And you know what? I'm actually gonna show y'all something. Hold on. You see this toilet roll? It's white. We just did a full face of makeup, but watch this. Yeah. Ooh, sorry y'all. And this is why it's ministry proof. So I have had a fun time with you all. Thanks for talking with me. Maybe you didn't really talk with me and I just talked to you and you just listened, or maybe you actually did respond wherever you're watching this. Either way, I had a great time doing this with you all. I don't want to hear anybody else saying, Evangelia, you need to post this makeup tutorial. I need to know how to do your makeup. I've posted it. I have done my part. My everyday makeup routine is on my TikTok and on my Instagram. I've posted it multiple times. This is the only one that wasn't posted, and now it is. I love you all, but as much as I love you, God loves you more. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn your post notifications on. Next week, we'll be starting our Christian Starter Pack series. And that's all from me. Bye.